A few weeks ago, OpenAI told its employees, stop chasing side quests. Let's focus. And now, the next action they're taking after shutting down Sora is that they bought a podcast. And not just any podcast, but the one that is known as the Sports Center for Silicon Valley, also known as TBPN, the Technology Business Programming Network. And as of April, it's owned by OpenAI. And Sam Altman says, I don't expect them to go easier on us, but we might have a conflict of interest here. Kate, how do you feel about this?
We'll see about that. Let's review the details here.
Tell me about this podcast, Kate.
TBPN started as the Technology Bros podcast. It's two former tech founders, John Coogan and Jordy Hayes. They rebranded it in 2025. It gives you fast takes on news. It's sort of like a always-on news show, right? They have a desk. They bring on different founders and throw them softball questions. They have a big giant gong, which is very Silicon Valley, that they bang for good news. It's what I would call a techno-optimist show. The numbers aren't huge, though. There's not million plus audience tuning in. It's about 70,000 viewers per episode. They've got about 85,000 YouTube subscribers. It's not small, and they have a lot of pull. They get big guests in. So they've had Mark Zuckerberg, Satya Nadella, Mark Benioff. They've even had Sam Altman a couple times. Sam Altman and Coogan actually go way back. Sam invested in Coogan's first company. So, there's a relationship here that was already established before the acquisition. The other thing that's so interesting is this business was working, right? It had $5 million in ad revenue in 2025. It was on pace to 6x that this year. It was profitable. It had employees. So I just don't understand, why sell? Why make this deal other than the $200+ million price tag? What do you think? Will I take $200 million? You want to split it 50-50?
I'll do 50-50 with you, Kate. And as much as I love this podcast, for $100 million, I'm okay passing the baton. Here, we don't need to really do a lot of big digging to find the receipts because there's a lot of information out there. Even OpenAI's announcement that we'll be seeing on the screen for those of you listening on the audio version, it's saying they're quite part of blood, right? Like Fidji Simo, this CEO of AGI deployment, we've covered her just 2 episodes ago, saying no side quests. She wrote the memo, right? And then right after that, she writes that they need TBPN's talent for communications and marketing. Again, Altman is calling these 2 hosts that look exactly like the same person, genius marketers. They have the niche, right? They have a very concentrated audience with a lot of influence, what they say the high net worth or the high worth audience. So one thing though, Kate, I don't know if you know this, the show reports to the rather controversial Chris Lehan, which is OpenAI's head of lobbying.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's not a marketing. If it's not PR and marketing and you're not reporting into the CMO or the head of communications, then what exactly is it, right?
Political. It's a political position, right? He comes from crypto. Now he's trying to make sure we pass favorable regulation, I'm assuming, about AI. My question is, we're talking about regulation, influence. Why a podcast then and not spend those $200 million bribing politicians like any decent American company?
I don't know. That's one I can't understand. But I did want to comment on the side quest piece, because if you really look at the side quests that they cut, they really are high compute usage, because the thing that this company doesn't have a lot of is compute, and they're pouring all of their money into the hardware to make their models work and grow their model offering. So they cut those things, right? Like Sora was a huge vacuum of compute, but this is relatively it's money out the door, but it doesn't use any compute. So it's maybe not a side quest in the same way that they were thinking about it.
All right. Now, let me see the scenario. Right now with AI, society, the whole thing, right? Right now, we've talked about this, that the majority of American voters think that the risk of AI outweighs the benefits, right? So that's number one. Number two, Altman has gone on the record saying he kind of miscalibrated, he says. I love the way he chooses words all the time. He miscalibrated how much trust there was in AI. OpenAI employees have been tweeting about the Pentagon deal. Ronan Farrow, just a couple of days ago, he published an article in the New Yorker that, doesn't paint our dude on the best light. So OpenAI, would you agree with me that right now they have a bit of an image problem? I mean, the read, if I go with the obvious read here, is that they're paying $200 million for a PR cure to all these pains, right? Like they say in business, they're suffering right now. But
that's really wise. That's really wise. It's a wise take. And I think they may be disappointed by whether this acquisition will do that for them. Because here's what I think, if you're a big fan of TBPN, you're a regular watcher, here's what might make you a little uncomfortable about this deal. The whole point of the site is access, right? The whole point of the show. They had the biggest names in Silicon Valley trotting on, having these honest and frank conversations because it was a safe space. They're also in a conversation with their peers, so they're not sitting down with Ronan Farrow, right? Who's going to pull all the strings. Once this becomes an OpenAI-owned show, are those competitors really going to be as comfortable trotting on and trotting off and sharing their information? I'm wonder, will they use the access that they used to have? And to what extent does the show just become like a microcosm of all of the OpenAI leaders, maybe the Microsoft leaders that are investing in them, their partner businesses, but doesn't necessarily get access to the same voices that it did before? And the other thing to think about is like their ad business is gone, as we talked about in the last 2 episodes ago. And, this show has sponsors, right? So when people come on, people pay like to sponsor the show. It's the way that podcasts work, right? OpenAI is the only client now. So is OpenAI the one who's just footing the bill now? Did they, again, kill another ad business? So we've laid it out, right? And I think what most people would think looking at this is, okay, I guess they're trying to control the narrative. So cutting out side quests, going forward with their enterprise and government strategy. This is a way for them to control the narrative so that they can build that business up. Is that what you're seeing?
I mean, in a way, you sort of have to agree, right? That could be the end goal, because we know that a couple of weeks ago, they said enterprise is where the money's at. Let's stop effing around with clients, the weird side quests. Let's focus on enterprise, which is where Anthropic lately has been getting lots of flowers, right? So I think OpenAI is like, this is the time to hit, right? And like you were saying, they have this influential audience. They've been cleaning house for the IPO. So probably may take, it's a way to communicate directly with the folks that are cutting the checks. Because definitely, I don't think this podcast cares about a general audience. If they're there, sure. But the ones that making the whole thing run is the wealthy folks that decide what happens next. So in a way, I guess they're trying to get a direct influence line, just another way of lobbying, not as straightforward.
Yeah, and like if you think about it, I mean, the end audience of this show is like the same microcosm that they're in. Right? Like if you're thinking like your business strategy is government and enterprise, do you think any government people are watching this show who are decision makers for bringing OpenAI in? Maybe not. Do you think any heads of enterprise are watching this show, right? People who are the technology decision maker for the massive real estate company that needs OpenAI? Maybe not. The people that watch this show are the same Silicon Valley wonks as work at OpenAI, as work at Anthropic, right? They are in the same bubble. So like, who are they really communicating to? I think you have a point, which is that they're communicating to the people that cut checks.
We actually have an episode in which we put all of this together. Like we usually say, follow the money and the truth shall be revealed. So I would recommend everyone, if you're interested on knowing why OpenAI is cleaning house, we got a full episode walking through what happened with Sora, what they're shutting it down, and how OpenAI is getting ready for their IPO. So make sure you're watching here. And if you're enjoying this podcast, we appreciate you subscribing, liking. We love it when you leave comments so we can talk to you and hear your takes. So go ahead and engage with us. We love you. Bye, Kate.